In internet, we're drowning in information. Traditionally, we've been filtering the information coming to us by looking at institutional cues like who's the publisher of the information, or in social media, we looked into likes or shares and so on. Recently, there's been a new tool, which is of course LLMs and credibility scores or fact-checking by LLMs. I ran into this interesting study where they looked into how these tools impact people's way of thinking or rating news. The study is quite well structured. They had 1,000 people and they looked into the impact of credibility score created by AI tools. While they do acknowledge that the study was run into controlled environment and encourages looking into more natural environments later.
Our results reveal that AI feedback significantly moderates partisan bias and institutional distrust, surpassing traditional engagement signals such as likes and shares. These findings demonstrate the persuasive power of generative AI and suggest a need for design strategies that balance epistemic influence with user autonomy.
They found out that in these political groups, they compared social cues and institutional cues might have been perceived differently, but in all groups, ChatGPT seemed to have quite high impact in how the news were perceived, which implies that the participants saw LLM-based fact-checking or credibility scores as neutral. There's also another study I read which is kind of connected, and in this study they looked into figuring out what kind of quality of information LLMs provide.
Our findings show that low-quality information extends beyond factual inaccuracies into types such as misprioritization and exaggeration, and that LLM affordances fundamentally differs from previous technologies. We call for conceptual and methodological discussions of information quality to move beyond truthfulness in order to address the affordances of emerging technologies and the evolving dynamics of information behaviors. As worried by the post-truth era of fear, online users do not always verify sources or assess information reliability, while algorithmic curation that rewards engagement over accuracy and echo chambers can further amplify biased perspectives.
This study went beyond truth or false, whether to see the quality of the data coming out of there. And they found that a lot of the LLMs produce low quality information in form of misprioritization and so on, which led to the possibility of people misinterpreting the results, even if they kind of are true. In this study, they have a small group of professionals and small group of public looking into quite sensitive topics and categorizing the data coming out of them. Here's some of the problems they found. With these two studies, there's a picture starting to emerge that is quite worrying, at least to me. We perceive these tools, these AI tools, as neutral, but in reality, they're of course controlled by corporations, and these corporations might be controlled by individuals. We do not see the bias behind them, and we know everybody's biased. We know that Grok AI was forced to praise Elon Musk in very strange ways very recently, and just before that one, they tried to make it anti-Vogue and turned it into a mecha Hitler by accident. And then there's really strange ones. I got subscribed to an email list, don't know how, but I haven't been able to unsubscribe because it's so fascinatingly horrible. This is a far-right religious group pushing their own agenda in disguise of unfiltered truth. They went so far as creating a browser extension that automatically read your social media and proposed responses to certain topics based on their interpretation. Now, in this case, at least, we see the bias quite clearly. We see they're racist and horrible, and smart people can ignore them. But in the case of ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, all of these mainstream tools, the bias is hidden. We do not know what kind of data was used to train them. We do not know what additional statements are put there to force certain point of views. And I also see this kind of danger of even if something is relatively neutral right now, overnight the algorithm's backend might be changed and something that was neutral today might not be neutral tomorrow. And we go from distributed internet and distributed information into place where we outsource our information, at least what we think about the information, to centrally controlled entities. The divide of the society will be even bigger, and it's going to be even more difficult to talk to people who disagree with you when the thinking is led by my fact-checking versus your fact-checking, and both of those fact-checkers are fully opaque. Now, solving this problem is quite difficult. I'm not big into regulations or bureaucracy, but I think in this case what the European Union is trying to do and forcing transparency into training data and these tools is the right thing to do. With European Union, the intention is of the good, but implementation is bad. It remains to be seen what it isn't here. In general, I'm not against LLMs as a tool. They are good. There's good projects like the ASU's Skeptic project that it can support people in their decision making to highlight things like logical fallacies in text they read and so on. But of course that can be abused as well. There is too much information and we need to find tools to filter this information and help us understand the world around us. Now, that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. I will link the studies down below and you can download them and read the details yourself. Thanks for watching and talk to you again next time about something else.